As we increasingly transact online and spend time on social networks and apps, it is so important to learn more about the best practices for safe money transfers and ways to avoid the latest digital scams. Joining us today with advice on how to recognize common scams targeting consumers during the summer months is Ben Chance, and he is the Chief Fraud Risk Management Officer at Early Warning, which is the network operator of Zelle. Thank you so much for being with us, Ben.
Thank you for having me this morning. Really appreciate it.
So, Ben, what fraud and scam trends have you been seeing recently?
I think it's probably unsurprising to most of your audience that as we interact more digitally, that scammers are following us into our digital lives. So really the trends that we see is more and more scam attempts over email, phone, text message, social media, and of course, digital marketplaces. So, that's just on the rise. And I think much of your audience will recognize having received either, a fraudulent or suspicious email or text or phone number in the recent past. And frankly, that's what we see across the board.
Would you say that scams are seasonal? And what are the most common scams that you're seeing during the summer months?
Yeah, unfortunately, scams happen every month of the year, but we do see a rise in concert and ticket-related scams over the summer months, just as there tends to be more festivals and maybe that Taylor Swift concert ticket all of a sudden becomes available. So we definitely see a rise in ticket-related scam activity. We also see a rise in vacation rental and timeshare activity because that tends to be more seasonal during the summer. And actually, we see a rise, or at least a rise in attempt of moving-related scams as well as home improvement scams. Again, people tend to move over the summer. They tend to take vacations over the summer. They tend to go to those outdoor concerts, and scammers really follow that normal pattern of purchase behavior in order to more effectively target consumers for their scam activity.
So what is Zelle doing to prevent and stop scams? And is it working?
It's a great question. The first, I'll just lead with yes, it's working. We've seen a nearly 50% reduction in the fraud and scam rate on our network over the last year, and that's while the network grew nearly 30%. So that's really a function of two main investment strategies we have. The first is in our technology investment, where we screen millions of Zelle payments every single day, and we attempt to detect whether or not those are suspicious and inform your bank associated with that. And so that's a really important investment that we make in order to try and protect consumers from fraud and scams. The other investment that we make is really with respect to education. And that's really, really important that consumers are educated around scams. They're aware of the warning signs, and they can stop a scam in its tracks. And things like our partnership with the Better Business Bureau, National Council on Aging, helped us reach nearly 40 million consumers last year. And things like our in-app alerts, where we warn consumers with respect to a payment. We sent nearly 700 million of those interstitial or in-app notifications to consumers last year. They're really making a difference in reducing fraud and scams on the Zelle platform.
Ben, what tips can you offer our audience on how to stay safe from scammers this summer?
Yeah, I think really important. If you're using Zelle or any other payment mechanism, only use that payment mechanism to pay someone you know and trust. So, a family member, a friend, a repair person who is in your house and just completed a repair. Those are safe ways to pay someone you know and trust. But someone you just met online in a digital marketplace, or someone that just emailed you and requested money, that's someone you don't know. That's someone you should not trust. So it's important to only use Zelle and other payment mechanisms to pay someone you know and trust. And it's also important that you don't give away your bank credentials. Don't ever give your PIN out over the phone or your one-time passcode. And if you receive a phone call from someone pretending to be your bank or your cable provider, don't answer that. If you do have a concern, call the number on the back of your debit or credit card, or call the number that's associated with your billing statement. Those are guaranteed ways that you're actually talking to a legitimate representative of that institution, and that'll really help protect you from being the victim of a scam.
All right, where can we go for more information?
We have a website, zellepay.com/safety-education. We've got a wealth of information on how to better protect yourself from scams and the warning signs to be aware of. And of course, if you have a question or you think you've been the victim of a scam, make sure you reach out to your bank directly and inform them so they can start the reporting process.
All right, Ben, this has been some great advice. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate the time.